Good morning. Happy holidays, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Web Dave for doing that intro a couple of years ago. You know what? I probably should have changed the music. I think last year we got dinged for it, but again, it's just a copyright. It's not a copyright claim or anything. It's just simply just a sharing thing because of the music. And I have a site that has Christmas music, as you saw from last night's unveiling of our video game Christmas tree. With not only because it was great because not only did we get 1,000 views on YouTube for the short, we also when we say we, I mean me. Mrs. Boom doesn't do social media. I actually started my own Instagram account. I had one years ago. I never used it. And I actually, King Flock on Twitter was like, "Boom, you gotta get in on this. There's no Xbox content creator." So I took his advice. Shout out to King Flock, who is consistently putting out positive content. Love the work that he does, not only on Twitter, but now on Instagram because, well, I'm following him and he's following me. But hey, everyone, good morning. Welcome. As you can see, I have to my left Santa pillows ready, to celebrate today's big event. We have the Christmas tree going. We got my animated wall box, if you will, giving us some festive cartoon-like graphics. And folks, if you didn't know what today was, today is going to be a special day. Look, from a gamer's point of view, we got three amazing topics to get into. Now, we're a little short on guests. I did send out a link to Umber to see if he might want to join us. Crispy Bomb, unfortunately, is working, and we should get Fuzzy Belvedere momentarily. But as we wait for him, we do have three awesome gaming topics. But that's not what makes today a special podcast, because this is something that a lot of channels don't do. And that is offer big giveaways for simply just giving back to the community. And what is today? Well, today is the 8th annual Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. BoomStick. Now, Mrs. BoomStick obviously is not here. She's working, but she is the one that puts all of these contests together. She is the one that allocates the money. She's the one that comes up with the big ideas on what we're going to give away, how much we're going to give away. She is the brains of the operation because, again, she does a lot of the behind-the-scene work that a lot of folks don't actually see. But, of course, it's just we are very blessed, ladies and gentlemen. We have over 16,000 subscribers. We've been at this for now 8 years. We have well over 8 million views in those 8 years, which is just insane considering the size of the channel. And we just like giving back as much as we can. Now, granted, though the giving back that we do is thanks to you fine folks in the chat. And again, I say this all the time, but I have to say it because it's necessary to call it out. We are, obviously, I'm a retired guy, and money it's great. We're doing all right, but it's 2025 and everything's expensive. So thanks to you, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat right now, we can do these big giveaways. And today is a big one, folks. We're giving away $500 worth of digital goods. And what are those digital goods? Well, we're going to give away 10 $50 gift cards, and we are opening up to allowing you, the winner, to pick your platform of choice. That's right, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo eShop, and even Steam. So if you do win, all you got to do is reach out to us via DM on Twitter. You can go to the About page on the YouTube channel, get our business email address, email me there, or like many people have done, message me on Xbox Live, and we will get you the code of your choice. That's simple. And guess what, folks? This contest that we're doing requires you to simply be in the chat. I have already put let me see if I can put it here. Oh no, that's not the I put it this morning, and the hashtag that you have to use is Xmas. You know what? Why Xmas with Mr. and Mrs. BoomStick. That's it. No, actually, you know what? That's not it. Hold on a sec. Let Let me just write it into the chat, folks. I had it ready to go, and Xmas with the boomsticks. That's it. Hold on a sec. There it is, folks. Xmas with the boomsticks. That's all you got to put into the chat for you to win. And why that's important is you don't have to be a channel member. You don't have to drop a super chat. Hell, you don't even have to be sub to the channel. Now, granted, we'd love you to be sub to the channel, of course, but you don't have to be, folks. And it's one of those open-ended contests that we understand how difficult the world is right now. And even though it's not as much as we normally do, we wanted to still have our giveaway, and we're doing it. And now, granted, there's a bonus, folks. And I had talked about this. I kind of hinted about it. We are giving away 3 additional grand prizes that have not been announced. And they're all physical in nature. So we're giving away a total of a baker's dozen, ladies and gentlemen. 13 prizes today, 10 digital, 3 physical. Now, the physical part of these prizes, folks, is thanks to the incredible talent and generosity of Ben Kenobi 2020, because he has provided Double Barrel Gaming with a bunch of coins. That's right, those Xbox coins that you see. Well, we're giving away a couple of prize packs that include them, ladies and gentlemen. So again, all you got to do to win is be in the chat. All you got to do is hashtag. And Mr. Kima, again, it's got to be the full hashtag, Xmas with the boomsticks, in one word, and then you're good. But listen, Corkenstein, welcome back, brother. Great to have you here. We have 3 topics to get into. It's the holidays. Everyone seems to be closing up shop. Us too. The next couple of weeks, we're going to have, only the first half of the week, some shows. And then we're going to get and actually take our time to enjoy the holidays. How you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Yeah, man, doing really, really good. Christmas is always a crazy time in my line of work. So moving cargo throughout the world is very, very crazy. But I'm glad to be here. It is freezing in my house. That's why I have my robe. I'm set up in my Christmas robe here. Yeah, man, I'm really happy to be here. Lots of really cool stuff to talk about. And there's always, I love you and Fuzzy. So I'm always here to spend my Friday mornings with y'all.
Well, we love you back, brother, and we appreciate the knowledge and professionalism that comes along with you every time you are a part of today's show. Fuzzy Belvedere, good morning. Best bald head in the business. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Yes, good morning. Glad to be here with you guys. Yeah, it's getting into that holiday time. It's feeling very Christmassy right now. I don't have anything in the background accordingly, but yeah, it's going to be a good week. It's going to be a good podcast day, and looking forward to some of this gaming stuff between now and the holidays. Wife has all week next week off, and yeah, it's going to be a nice, relaxed Christmas this year.
Yeah, you know what? Again, it's going to be a great Christmas for us. We are, like I said, incredibly blessed to be in the position that we're in, and we of course want to extend those best wishes to everybody in this chat. And everybody in the community at whole, not just the Xbox community, not the PlayStation community, and not just the Nintendo community. Everybody, everyone that's in the gaming community that interacts with Mrs. Boomstick and I through social media. We want to wish you and your families an amazing and, more importantly, a safe holiday season, especially because I'll give you my spiel on the back end, because I'll never stop being Mr. Popo. I'm sorry. I it's in my blood. I can't. So I have to do my do my thing. But look, the super chats are already coming in fast and furious, and I don't want to let them get out of control. So before we get into topic number 1, let me just read the first 4 we have here. So Sith Lord 98 drops a very generous $5 super chat. Sith, how you doing, brother? Merry Christmas to you and the family. He says, happy holidays to you and Mrs. Boom. Thanks for another amazing year. 2026 Xbox 25th will be a blast. Looking forward to spending it with you guys. Yeah, it's going to be a party time for Xbox next year. And I know that we're not. We're not going to show any video because it's not mine. But Did you see that Master Chief came out for the Xbox Bowl on a freaking warthog and handed a trophy to the kids that depicted it looked, I mean, again, it looked like, I don't know if it was working or not, but it was an Xbox ROG Ally X, and they actually gave, defensive and offensive player achievement unlocked things. Those are freaking amazing. Talk about a marketing 101. But yeah, we also have here now say Taku, I believe that's how you say it, or Su Taku in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat. And he goes on to say, remember everyone, Xbox Series X consoles is the only place to play all the mainline Final Fantasy titles and some offshoots as well. Yeah, I saw that posted the other day, and that's pretty crazy. It's even more crazy is that we discussed on Thursday that Square Enix could be the next acquisition for Xbox in 2026. I think that it's either them or Ubisoft. I think both companies are in a pickle financially. But again, folks, this is not part of today's show. I'm just throwing it out there because it's a conversation. It just so happens that one of the head directors of Final Fantasy was at Seattle at the Microsoft headquarters taking pictures with Sarah and Phil. I'm just saying, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. But we will continue. Cyber Gunter in the chat drops a very generous $10 super chat. So Cyber, thanks so much for the generosity, brother. Merry Christmas to you and the missus, as well as your entire family. He says, Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all. Indeed, kind sir. Thank you so much for the generosity and the very kind words. And as he's done before, Aris_EMS has gifted 5 double barrel gaming memberships. Brother, that is incredibly generous of you. You've done that, I think, twice this week already. That's crazy generosity, bro. We don't even know what to say, but thank you, and thank you again. If you did score one of the memberships, please, by all means, thank this man in the chat. And we have Bounty in the chat, who's been a channel member for 54 months. Jesus Christmas. That is insane, brother. He says, Wagwan boom. Everyone, have a wonderful and great holiday, another year, and another Christmas. Keep up the good work, Mr. and Mrs. BoomStick. Brother, that's very kind of you to say. And yeah, we're going to continue to keep it positive, and we're going to continue to give back as much as we are given. And it's the right thing to do. Again, it's not, it's an us thing. It's not, why aren't any other channels doing it? Listen, people run their channels how they run their channels. How we run the channel is we, as humans, because we do a lot of charity work, folks. A lot of that stuff we don't talk about. I'm only mentioning it because it doesn't start and stop with just the channel. There are behind the scenes stuff that we do yearly, and we love doing it. We honestly, if I was a millionaire, I would be donating to everybody. I absolutely would, but we're not, and that's fine. We're never probably going to be, but it's okay. We do what we can. We have Parksy 1972 has been a channel member for 19 months. So, brother, it's very kind of you, Parksy. Super appreciate that. He says, Boom Fuzzy Cork, wishing you all a Merry Christmas. Here's to 2026. Well, Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you, my brother. Thank you so much. And we also have here a gifted sub from our brother from Hawaii who has gifted 1 double barrel gaming membership. Brother, it's great to see you here, Nino Vostek. And of course, aloha to you and your family. Merry Christmas as well. Thank you so much for the continued generosity. And not to be outdone, Bounty has gifted 10 double barrel gaming memberships. Wow, that is just absolutely insane. Bounty, thank you so much for that. Wagwan to you and the family. Merry Christmas. We also have a super chat here. Wow, this is insane. A $50 super chat for Smokey in the chat. So, Smokey, thank you so much for always being here, brother. That is insane generosity. He says, flowers to Mrs. Boom. Don't you dare spend this on DLC. Thank you so much for that, brother. Don't worry. I actually got for my birthday $400 of Xbox gift cards. And so far, I have about 300 and change left. I'm waiting for that end of year sale to see what I don't. See, I am forbidden by Mrs. Boom and her 2 sisters to buy anything. Otherwise, it's belt to ass because I would be ruining their Christmas gift, so I can't buy anything. And there's a lot of games that I'm fiending to play, so I'm holding on. I've bought a couple of like indie titles you can't buy outside of Xbox, so I'm good. Any of the mainline stuff, I'm not allowed because Mrs. Boom will give you the look, and she's Hispanic, and she knows how to throw and sling a chancleta very well. So anyone that's Hispanic understands that she has those skills that she picked up from her mama and, of course, abuela. So there you go. J Mac in the chat has been a channel member for nearly 50 months, brother. That is very kind of you. Thank you so much for that, J Mac. He says, happy holidays to the BoomSticks family, as well as the panels. Hashtag Graybeards in the building. Xbox World Order in 26. Hashtag Xbox better and Xbox butters. Yeah, I shaved, as you can see. I got a baby face. No, people were like, yeah, Boom is growing a beard. Mrs. Boom ain't about that beard life. She says the balba is not good. Get it off. So there you go.
Join the dark side, Boom. Join the dark side.
I tried, but I get very itchy. I can't stand it. Like, it bothers me. It's insane. I don't know what it is. Probably because I don't moisturize my skin enough. Or
technically gray side. It would be the gray side for us.
The gray, my gray side 55. Yeah, you can see. You don't really see it because I'm shaving on the sides, but yeah. We also have CK Halo, who's been a channel member for 17 months, and I think you're really going to dig one of the big topics because I am excited about Halo's future, and their future is their past, and kind of sounds like a Christmas Carol, doesn't it? We'll get into that momentarily. He says, happy Friday, everyone. I love you all. Well, we love you back, brother. Thank you so much for the generosity, but more importantly, the very kind words. We also have Mac22 in the chat, not to be outdone. He has dropped a very generous $5 super chat. He says, Merry Christmas to the Boomsticks and happy holidays to all. Brother, that's very kind of you, and right back at you. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and of course, a great holiday season. But listen, gentlemen, speaking of Halo, let's get right into this. So look, there are people in this community that I absolutely adore as humans. You have Shinobi 602, you have Okami _13_, you have Hazador Gaming. These are people, these are gamers. These are content creators on YouTube, on Twitter, that don't have YouTube channels. At least I'm not familiar with their channels if they have them. But what they provide is daily information that I use for these shows. Now, granted, they are a part of the 30 plus articles and posts that I read, folks, weekly. Like, I want to say, and I'm undercutting the number. I probably read about 20 to 30 articles, and I read 20 to 30 posts per week because I have to stay on top of this. When I tell you folks that I run the channel, I work on the channel 7 days a week, I'm not being facetious or want you to pat me on the ass. I do it because when I get it wrong, you have no idea how it breaks my heart. Like, when I actually get it wrong, I misquote someone's name, I change the way something was written. It bothers me to my core because I'm supposed to be the best because I'm the one running the channel. Well, there is another person that I believe that you should follow, and that is Pastor Xbox. Been following him for quite some time. I believe he is following me, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is following me, and he is Pastor Xbox is a representative of the Xbox platform, and he's a big fan. Well, he put out a post, and look, Ecstasies is another one. I don't want to forget him. I like him a lot. Ecstasies is, say what you want about the guy, gets it wrong, gets it right, but that's all of us, folks. That's the nature of the business. You walk a razor's edge of taking someone's word, and sometimes you're wrong. Well, Pastor Xbox, who is from Portugal, by the way, has posted something that has me out of my mind happy, excited, and it starts with what we all started with on the OG Xbox nearly 25 years ago, Korkenstein. That is Halo Combat Evolved. So look, we got a chance to see 13 plus minutes of footage from the remake of Halo Combat Evolved, which they're calling, which I hate the name, Halo Campaign Evolved. I don't like it. It should just be Halo Combat Evolved remake, or 2026, whatever you want, an anniversary edition, whatever. Fine. They're the ones that make the names. I don't. Okay. Well, I unfortunately did not get to play it, which again, I get invited to a lot of stuff. Xbox has been so good to me in the channel, so I have no complaints, but I'm going to be honest with you. I really wish I would have got the call off the bench, because I would have absolutely freaking adored playing, getting an early play build of this thing, because I'm such a Halo freak. It's crazy. Well, we know that Halo Combat Evolved, Cork, is getting remade. Here is where I go crazy in my mind, because according to a rumor from Rebs Gaming, who is Mr. freaking Halo himself, this is what this tweet says. According to the insider Rebs Gaming, with information from a developer at Halo Studios, the studio is indeed working on remakes of the original Halo games. That means the original trilogy, ladies and gentlemen. Halo 1, Halo 2, and my absolute freaking all-time favorite, Halo 3. And there's a couple of reasons why it's my favorite. And one is because it landed on my birthday in 2000, I believe 6 or 7, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 7. The infamous year. Landed on my birthday. Mrs. Boom, as she done many times before, bought me freaking everything. The cat head helmet, the console, the Todd McFarlane designed controllers with the figures. I had a freaking absolute blast. And, well, that's getting remade according to Rebs. Now, Rebs Gaming, if you don't know who he is, another incredible member of the X community. So, Cork, I'm going to read verbatim from what Rebs had to say. And he says this: Microsoft and the direction of Halo Studios want to ensure that the new era of Halo does not fail, opting for a cautious approach in avoiding risks. Specifically, they are trying to avoid producing a new Halo game that is harshly criticized by longtime fans of the franchise. Yeah, Halo fans, look, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're out there, I'm talking directly to you. You are as bad as the Star Wars fans. You are as bad as the Marvel core fans, because you complain too much. I'm sorry. The whole he shouldn't sprint thing is so wild to me, as being a super soldier that is nearly 8 feet tall. If that dude can't run, then let's just pack it all up. But the fact that they added the fact you can just turn that off and you can be a lumbering, walking thing in the new game is great for all of those purists. But Halo fans out there, and I'm probably going to lose some subs for this, you are the worst, because you freaking complain too much, just like the Star Wars fans and just like the Marvel fans. You just can't get it right. But I regress. He goes on to say this: therefore, they're choosing a safe approach, remaking the original games, because they cannot afford another failure, and because the first Halo games were immensely successful and are still played by many people. In closing, Korkenstein, he says, another source explained that Microsoft has abandoned the idea of bringing the Master Chief Collection to PlayStation. The publisher prefers to focus on reselling the entire saga through remakes from Halo Combat Evolved to Halo 3. I think that this is abso-freaking-lutely brilliant. To be honest with you, look, again, this is I'm not trying to be like a D or anything, and I'm only being a little bit facetious. But Halo fans are like the purists are too harsh, in my opinion. I understand fandom, ladies and gentlemen. You've been seeing me on the socials saying fire Mike Tomlin, because I'm a Steeler. I've been a Steeler fan since '76. Since my pops sat me on his knee to watch the games, I've been a Steeler fan. And of course, he was a Jets fan. He doesn't understand, how I became a Steeler fan, but it is what it is. So my thing is this: remake the original trilogy, give it the Unreal Engine 5 treatment, make the games look good, re-release these games on every platform. PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PC, and wherever else you can do it. And once the new trilogy is out and done, there's going to be a multiplayer. The multiplayer is going to be separate. And I have a feeling that that's going to get unveiled soon. Now, I don't know, because we know that they've stopped, any updates for Infinite, which means that they are moving towards working on the new multiplayer. I like the idea of multiplayer being separate from the single player. I know that's not how it usually goes. It's usually you get both in the package, but they're going to be releasing this next multiplayer, Quark, that's going to be on every console. It's going to be free to play. It's going to be a relaunch, just like the games, just like the single player games of multiplayer. And I have a strong suspicion if they get it right, and I believe they're going to get it right, this could be another one into the mix of your Apex Legends, your Fortnites, your Call of Duty Warzones, and your Marvel Rivals. I think it could be as big. I honestly really do, but I want to stay focused onto remaking the trilogy. This, to me, I think, this is just me, and I'm a Halo stan. I'm not. I absolutely freaking love Master Chief. I would absolutely lose my mind to see the trilogy remade. Because look, I'm going to tell you this right now. My most anticipated game next year is not Fable. It's not Forza Horizon 6. It's not Wolverine. It's not Mario Galaxy 3, which I believe is going to be announced. It's Halo Combat Evolved Remake. Because why wouldn't it be? It's the 25th anniversary of Master Chief and Cortana, and it is going to honestly be the best looking Halo we've all ever played. Let's get your thoughts on the remaking of the trilogy, Quark.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good move. And I 100% agree with you. I've said this for years and years and years. Nobody hates Halo more than the Halo community. And that may ruffle some feathers, but I mean, it's true. There's and it happens every year. A new Halo game, or every time a new Halo comes out, and this is the worst one ever. And then people forget. Then the next one comes out. Oh, this is so awful. Everybody has their Halo that they wish they kept making the same thing. So like for some, it's Halo 3. They never want another Halo, another Halo that isn't like Halo 3. Some it's, Halo 1. Oh, I wish they just stay pure. I want to be Halo 1. Any other Halo is going to suck compared to them. So it's just funny. I always find it every year there's something to complain about. And then once the next Halo comes out, it's something else to complain about. It's just funny. I love the Halo series. And I'm really glad that they're making one. If they are going to make number 2 and 3 as well, it makes sense. I've been calling this out for a while now. Or I've been saying this for a while that with the multi-platform strategy, they're going to be trying to get people that might not be invested in that ecosystem back into the ecosystem. Or at least trying the ecosystem for the first time. And that's, PlayStation gamers or maybe Nintendo Switch gamers or, wherever they're going to make this or release these games, they're trying to get people invested into the Xbox ecosystem. And you don't have to have a console to do that anymore. And so their biggest IP, of course, they're going to try and do remakes to get people interested in the story. You could watch a YouTube video of like the story of Halo, or you could play it. Most gamers I think would want to play it and experience it for the first time. So I wouldn't doubt they're going to go back and do all these remakes. They'll probably make a Master's Chief Collection next gen version as well. They'll probably do maybe Reach, see how well it does. I don't doubt that their numbers are, if they're considering Halo 2 and 3, that their pre-order numbers are probably looking pretty good on their platform and on other platforms, which is why this is sparking this debate. Or why is it sparking these kind of news, is people are seeing that that it's tracking well and people want to play Halo on other platforms, so let's give them Halo. I still think that they should do either timed exclusive for the next game, so get these people invested And then, but if you really want to play the next one, you got to play it on Xbox. You got to play it on the ROG, or you got to play it on PC or things like that. Like, make them come into the ecosystem for that, versus just doing day and date for every platform. I know it goes against what Xbox is currently doing. I still think that might be the smart move to do. Will they do it? Probably not. They'll probably release everything all together at once. But I think new Halo games should go on Xbox first, and then it's like a 6-month waiting period, and then to everywhere else. A little time exclusivity here and there, especially if something for as big as as Halo. Same thing with Gears and things like that. I think there should be a little bit of a timed exclusivity. I'm not a big fan of exclusivity in that sense, but I think if you really want to get people invested in the ecosystem and want people to join in, that would be a smart way to do it. But will they? I think they'll still make the same amount of money, whether it's day one or 6 months. As long as people are spending in the ecosystem, that's kind of all they care about. But yeah, I'm excited. I loved Halo 2. I loved Halo 3. I remember the big thing. Halo 3 was the bubble, right? Was it Sprint or the bubble? Does anybody remember?
I think it was
the bubble
Sprint.
shield.
The bubble shield was a lot of people didn't like that either. But that's what it is. I love the bubble shield, but the big talking point, at least out of Combat Evolved Remake, was this isn't right. He shouldn't sprint. It ruins the game. Look. First of all, it's ridiculous. It's a super soldier, but to Halo Studios' credit, it can be toggled off in the accessibility section of the game. So if you want to be a lumbering, slow piece of wood walking through the world, you can go back to what made you a lumbering piece of wood walking through the world. That's perfectly fine. As an option, options are great. So but this is where I kind of push back a little bit here, Cork. I have actually seen it shouldn't be in the game because he didn't have it in the folks. For the love of Jehovah, if you play the game, this is what I love. Play the freaking game the way you want to play it. If you want to be a lumbering, slow thing, you can do that. I want to run around and stare people with the energy sword, and I want to roll up on them. That's just me. But
yeah, I want to punt. Yeah, like run up and just punt a grunt, just like halfway across.
Exactly,
one of the,
exactly.
But yeah, so I'm excited. Like, I'll replay them all. I don't care. Like, Reach is probably one of my favorite ones.
You're getting my money, brother. Take it all.
Make them as much as you want. I will gladly play and invest in Halo as many times as I can, because I do love the series. I loved Infinite, what it had. It's a shame that their multiplayer kind of got off track, and they had the level set, and that took a year and a half. But I think Halo's in a good place. I think what they saw with, as well, coming out for the new one, what they saw with the open world atmosphere, a lot of people really dug it. The campaign reviewed really well. It was just the multiplayer that kind of went south. But if what they're doing with the new series and the direction they're going, and they're trying to incorporate those elements to modernize 2 and 3 and 1, 1, 2, and 3, I'm all for it. I love when developers take chances and they really push boundaries, and they're not just making the same slop over. And that's why I really appreciate Kojima. People don't like him, but I think his approach to gaming, he's always changing. He's never really resting on his laurels or trying to do the same thing over. And if Halo's going to try the same approach, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I again, look, are they eventually going to remake everything? I honestly, I don't know. You said Reach. That's an interesting one. Reach is beloved. The last Bungie game. I don't, man, that's a, it's interesting. It's very interesting, because what the path that you're talking about, we have seen Capcom walk down. And Capcom has done it to a great degree, because not only had they released, when Capcom was on the ropes, folks, and I don't think a lot of people actually know this. Capcom, before Resident Evil 7, was on the verge of filing for bankruptcy, bro. Like, honestly, go look up the story. That I'm not making that up. That actually happened. They were on the ropes. And they came out with Final Fantasy. They came out with Resident Evil 7. And it was risky because it went away from the standard over the shoulder third person. It went first person. Even me, I am a Resident Evil freak. Like, I have tons of stuff. It's one of my favorite franchises of all freaking time. Even me, I was like, oh man, first person. Oh, I don't know. And then I played it and I was like, somehow they figured it out where it feels like third person, but it's first person and it's scary AF. And I haven't played it in VR, which I would advise not to do if you want to not have a coronary, because I was using the PlayStation VR 1 and they rolled out the head and I lifted up my feet like it was going to hit my feet. It's just the immersion was insane. But when they did that, what happened? Well, they remade 2 and 3 and 4, and they're remaking 0 and 1, and they're still releasing 9 that's going to give you both perspectives. So if they could do it, I think the Halo Studios team could somehow not only keep going with the remakes, but also keep going with the next entry into the franchise, whether that be Halo, 7, whatever you want to attach a number to it, or Halo, the next, next mission, whatever you want to call it. I think it's possible. I like what you're putting down there. Let's bring in Fuzzy Belvedere. Fuzzy, look, I know that I haven't seen the chat because I have like 3 screens open and I'm trying to do the contest. So I know Big Mad Mo has probably already said 3 times, I love you, Mo. I love you, dude, that Chief needs to retire. He wants Chief out the door. I hear you. I have to disagree, but it's fine. Opinions, right? So Big Mad Mo wants Chief to retire. I want Chief to continue. Let's get your thoughts on this. Remaking the original trilogy and introducing this new trilogy to PlayStation, potentially even Nintendo Switch, because I think Nintendo will be able to run it as well, even if it's via the cloud. I think that there's a way to run it. Is a really, really smart thing. And look, we know that the marketing sometimes doesn't really hit for Xbox because they haven't hired an old man like me to help out their young latte drinking team. And again, no offense to them, lattes are good, but you got to work, and I don't think they understand that. But it's fine. It's just my opinion. Bringing new old games to customers that have never played it, or maybe maybe they never played it, is smart business. If they are smart at the marketing team, and sometimes they are and sometimes they're not, they'll have collector editions that are physical to go with these releases, because Halo is a big game. I don't care what anyone tells you. Let's get your thoughts on the report from Rebs Gaming.
Well, it's great that they're actually considering doing more of that trilogy as far as a remake. I think we kind of thought that they would wind up doing it at some point, depending on how sales went. And like you said, the pre-orders probably show them a promising sign enough that it's worthwhile investing the time and resources to remaster some of the earlier ones. I think the big thing is with the multi-platform, strategy, the best way to do it is reintroduce that story to not only those that may have left the platform and show it in better resolution and fidelity and everything, but also, reach those customers that, prior to, them even releasing the original Xbox, that have never even looked at an Xbox, reintroducing those on the PlayStation platform to that whole story and get them invested into the lore of Chief and just everything involved with it. So the remaster aspect, definitely looking forward to it. As far as the terrible fans comment, it's like, unfortunately, it exists in almost every title. I can agree to disagree with other Division fans out there, especially, I guess, some of the bigger streamers that are more Dark Zone than Light Zone stuff. It's like we always argue on what part should be the priority of the game. And even with Forza Horizon, I wind up butting heads with some of the other content creators that are involved with that as well. But all in all, I think the big thing is the fact that they're considering doing these remakes, and like you said, if they were to take the Capcom approach, do the remasters as well as the next line in the trilogy, or not in the trilogy, but in the series and stuff. That's the best way to do it. I I can understand the request for the time exclusivity. At this point, I've kind of blown off the whole whether it's exclusive or not, just for the fact that having a PC, having a PlayStation, a Switch 2, being fortunate enough to have those, it's like wherever the game is, I'm going to be able to play it, and then it just becomes and a thought process of where I purchase it based on the library. Like right now, Play Anywhere guarantees that I'm buying it on Xbox. Outside of that, then next logical for me, the next logical choice is Steam, because then I can still access it through my future Xbox console, and if I should pick up the Ally X and things like that at a later date, it'll be readily available and such. As far as anything that's exclusive, specifically a first party studio PlayStation title, or a Nintendo title that I don't feel like pirating, those would be purchased on those platforms. But aside from that, Xbox is my primary ecosystem in which everything kind of revolves, with Steam being kind of the secondary for the most part. But I do want to see not necessarily spin-offs, but other evolution within the Halo franchise. Like, as many know, I am more of a extreme casual Halo player. It's not my go-to. I'm more of a third-person shooter kind of guy than first-person shooter kind of guy. But all in all, I'm still hoping that they do some sort of horror-themed, flood taking over a ring type of deal, type of game.
I had $1 million idea that I gave away for free, and if I don't get any credit, I'm gonna be pissed as all H. But please continue, sir.
Yeah, like all of these types of like spin-offs, and even bring back the Halo Wars franchise, which I know there's a lot of RTS players out there, and you could do kind of a RTS hybrid where it's a twin stick shooter kind of thing, or more of that ARPG type of perspective type of deal. I don't know if the core fans of the Halo series would gravitate to that, but I know that there are a lot of ARPG fans, as well as twin stick shooter fans, as well as RTS fans, that would definitely gravitate to it. Expanding the franchise. I know in the past people used to say that's milking the franchise, but I think at this point, to bring Halo back to its former prominence as far as being that go-to IP, you got to try different things. And sometimes stuff sticks, sometimes it doesn't. But I think the remasters are a way to recapture the glory, bring back the feels for a lot of those that may have left the platform in the meantime, kind of thing, as well as introduce it to a whole new series of people. And, I'm glad that they're actually taking that time and effort to do that, and glad that Xbox is doing that with a lot of their series. Now, we can only figure out how to do that on the older maps for Forza Horizon, because I know a lot of people like Horizon 3 as far as the Australian map. Just make it like a travel to the airport kind of thing at some point. Maybe they can figure out a way to incorporate that. I know licenses be damned, excuse my language, but that would be something that would be pretty cool as well. But looking forward to more of the future titles is always where I'm going to put my focus at. But yeah, remasters are a good thing, especially when other platforms seem to remaster and remake a particular series. I think, was it 3 times in 4 years, between the PS3, PS4, and then PS5. It's like, oh, and then it goes to PC. Yeah, it's like I think they've outdone themselves on remasters. So I shouldn't hear anybody complain about remasters of the Halo trilogy.
Well, look, at the end of the day, the fact that we are getting a remake of what started it all for a lot of the Xbox gaming community back in 2001 is a really big deal. You're getting a remake. Now, granted, I understand there was an anniversary before it, and that was great. But this is taking the bones of the original from 2001 and making it modern. That's a 25-year gap. That's crazy. That doesn't happen very often. When it's done right, and I can name a couple of few instances. You can go back to Resident 2 and 3 for great remakes. Final Fantasy VII Remake, phenomenal, right? That's going to be next year. The demo's up right now if you want to download it, and your save will carry over, which is dope. Oblivion this year, unbelievable remake. I mean, there's been quite a few more, but to see Halo come back and celebrate its 25th anniversary of Halo Combat Evolved in what we saw on the screen, and now to know, thanks to Rebs Gaming, who is, by the way, Mr. Halo himself, that they are currently working on 2 and 3. And wait a second, folks. I think the best part of Halo Combat Evolved is we're getting 3 missions with Johnson and Chief. Holy freaking cow, yes, please. So what that says to me is that if they're looking or willing to add new content to an original game, we could get a new ending for 2, which was probably not the greatest of endings. That Gravemind situation was not really that good. Massive cliffhanger. But we could get some new content for 2. Get some new content, maybe even some of the cutting room floor content from 2 and 3. That would be insane. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm here for it. But look, we have to announce the first group of winners. So I'm gonna name the first 5. The 3 physical prizes will be on the end because those are considered grand prizes. So this first 5 winners, ladies and gentlemen, are for a $50 gift card of your choice. The digital prize. You email me via the business email. You can message me on Xbox Live. You can DM me on Twitter. You can reach out to me on Instagram if you want now. It's at Double Barrel Gaming. Very easy to find. And you, the winner, first 5, you pick where you want it from. You want it Xbox, you want it PlayStation, you want it Steam, or you want Nintendo eShop. You got it. Now, obviously, I have to go get the codes. I have to literally get the code. So I will, by the end of the weekend, have given everyone their digital prize one way or another. If you don't reach out to me right away, don't worry. We're not going to give the prize away. Only if it gets into late next week will we redraw. But the first 5 winners of the $50 digital gift card is a gentleman named Double X Atticus in the chat. So congratulations, Double X Atticus. We also have J-Mac winning a $50 digital gift card. Cyber Gunter has also been one of the picks from the tools that we use from StreamYards. WTB 1327 in the chat has won a $50 gift card. And Gamer Geek as well. Congratulations to the first 5 winners. And of course, I'll reread that. That's Double X Atticus, J-Mac, Cyber Gunter, WTB 1327, and Gamer Geek. You have all won a $50 gift card courtesy of Double Barrel Gaming. And of course, reach out to me in the many ways I've already told you, but I will reread all of the winners on the back end of the show. But gentlemen, we have to continue because we're already 49 minutes into the show, and it's probably because I talk too much, but it's okay because it is a podcast that is conversational. Gentlemen, let me pull up the next one. Now, this one kind of hurts a bit. Look, I'll say this. My love for Bethesda, Todd Howard, and that team runs deep. I have been a fan of theirs for years. Now, granted, I don't go as far back as playing on PC, but I do go back as far as even before Oblivion. Like my first super big RPG for me was during the Xbox 360, but I know I played a little bit of the Elder Scrolls that released on the OG Xbox. I didn't like it as much. I know a lot of people want a remake of that. I guess maybe if it's modern, maybe I would like it. But this particular story, Korkenstein, comes the way of Clobriel. And this is from a Game Informer interview, which, of course, all of this information that we're using for the stories will be added to the show notes, so you can click, 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 and read them for yourself. Well, Cloverreal posted this on the 16th of December, and it's heartbreaking because it goes to tell me that we are not getting the Elder Scrolls for a while, which makes me even more sadder that we may not get a Fallout 5 for even longer. So look, I've said this jokingly. I don't want to be 61 years old playing Fallout 5. I guess it is what it is. If I'm around that long, and hopefully I make the NYPD pay at least until I'm 106. They're going to have to send out the assassins to take me down because I want to keep collecting that pension. But this is what Cloverreal posted. And again, it comes the way of a Game Informer interview, which we'll give credit where credit is due. And I'll click on that article in a second. But Todd Howard gives an update to the Elder Scrolls 6. And this is what Todd had to say. Quote, "It's progressing really well. The majority of the studio is on 6, meaning the Elder Scrolls 6. But I'll say this, we always overlap. So we're very used to overlapping development, and we have long pre-productions on things so that we feel good about them. And it's a process. We all wish it went a little bit faster or a lot faster. But it's a process that we want to get right." Now, I'm clicking on the article because, of course, if I'm going to use the article, I want to give credit where credit is due. And shout out to Game Informer, who I get physically, came back in a big way. Love the fact that Game Informer came back. If you don't know where Game Informer originated from, if you are an OG and you remember the store Funcoland, well, I used to not only be an employee at first, but I had my own store in Nanuet. Believe it or not, yes, I worked for Funcoland, and Funcoland used to sell subscriptions like GameStop does now for magazines. And back in the days when Game Informer first started, I think it was like 7 pages. It was like a pamphlet. And now they're back. They're self-published. It's amazing. I love the fact that Game Informer is back. This article was written by Brian Shea, posted on December 16th. And the title is Bethesda Gives an Update to the Elder Scrolls 6's development. And look, I want to read what Angela Broder had to say. She is the studio director. Goes on to say this: "It's wonderful to be back in the Elder Scrolls universe. As the internet likes to tell us, it's been a while. And the industry and the hardware and all of this have made such leaps and bounds since the last time we made one of these. Like, I'm actively excited about what's in front of us because the opportunities, the hardware, the rendering, all of this stuff has just," quote, "the possibilities are just crazy. I will be honest. For me, sometimes I see things that are happening and I go, Angela from Skyrim days could never have envisioned seeing this like it is now. And that it's a cool thing to be a part of. And it's a thing that I hope that when the day comes that our fans play it, that they," quote, "especially those of who's been lifers with our brands, can really see how far it's all come. You can see that right now, you load up the original Oblivion and you load up the remaster of Oblivion, and you can see how far it's all come." So to me, quote, "The Elder Scrolls 6 is this endless set of possibilities that is really, really exciting as a developer, but really, really exciting as someone who really likes to think about how far everything has come in our industry. It's going to be dope." And she laughs and she says it again. "It's going to be really dope." So she's old school like me. Like I love this quote, which is why I had to read it live on here. Korkenstein, there's been some posting that we may not see the Elder Scrolls 6 to at least 2028, which is 3 years from where we are now. Now, technically, 26 is around the corner, so we can be a little facetious and say it's 2 years out. I was actually hoping that it would be a launch title for the next Xbox console in 27. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen. I actually also saw a report that it could be pushed out to 2029. Oh my God, say it ain't so. Look, we got Oblivion remake. I don't know, and maybe I'm being a bit facetious here. Who in the chat? Let me go to the chat here. I should actually do a poll. Who in the chat would actually be jazzed for a Skyrim remake in the same vein as what they did with Oblivion? See, I'm gonna have to raise my hand here. I'm gonna have to raise my hand because it's freaking Skyrim, which has been sold a gazillion times, and it can be run on your refrigerator and your stove right now, right? Let's get your thoughts on the report and the interview, with Todd Howard, with some of the staff over at Bethesda. What are your thoughts on potentially having to wait as far as 2029 for, of course, the next, Elder Scrolls title?
Delay it to 2030 if you need to. 2031, 32. Do what you got to do.
You're
as
a young man. You can say that, sir.
Do it. Make it to where it's going to be carefully crafted. It's going to be something that you really want to put out there. Not every studio actually gets to have that opportunity. And as much as people don't want to that long kind of period of having to wait for something, you don't want the alternative either. I mean, yeah, it's great for you as a consumer, but for developers, I mean, look what's going on with Naughty Dog right now. I mean, they just had that whole thing where they're trying to get an internal demo, which I believe is a vertical slice for PlayStation on their Intergalactic game. Crunch is not nice. Crunch is not friendly. Crunch sucks. I've done numerous shifts when I worked at EA, where I was there for like 2 days straight. Pretty much doing airplane washes in the bathroom, under the wings, between the tails, in the sink, trying to get myself all cleaned up. Because I had to be there for 24, 48, 72 hours. I'd sleep on the couch. Was the money good? 100%. It was great, but did I really have much of a social life? Did I get to see my family? Did I missed friends' birthdays. I've missed loved ones, people I regret, that have passed away that I wish I could have spent more time with them. Crunch is not friendly. It's not great for the industry. It's a standard of the industry, sadly. And I'm really glad there's unions out there now trying to change that. But the alternative is these guys crunch just to get a game out a year or two earlier. Again, great for you as a consumer, but it's horrible industry practice that I wish would just go away. But again, not everybody has the hundreds of millions of dollars they need to create these games. So I'm all for if a company can create something and take their time with it, I much rather have them do that. I don't doubt Elder Scrolls 6 will be amazing. That's a very legacy title that has a lot of history behind it. For those worried it might be a Starfield Light or something, it's not going to be that. Starfield was something new. They wanted to branch out and explore and try. But with Elder Scrolls, that has a very storied history with fans, and fans know what to expect. And there's a certain bit of expectation that fans want. So yeah, I am 100%. I'm 100% for them taking as long as they need to make Skyrim, especially as something. I mean, not Skyrim, Elder Scrolls series, especially as someone that's a big fan of it. Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, played most of them. I think that's where I started. Whoops, seems my camera went out. That was one of the ones that I started, where I really, really loved, and got into Elder Scrolls, was that game. So I'm looking forward to what they have to offer. Again, like I said, it's either crunch or, you let them cook, and games that get along. Well, I shouldn't say this. Games that get a long development time, because then we have things like Duke Nukem Forever, which was just 8, 9. I think still the longest game in development, which I think is just trumped, or just or Stark Citizen. I think just trumped its development time. But
there's been a couple of them. There was one that was the one PlayStation 3 game with the with the creature that you could ride. That's like 9 years of development. There's been a couple of them.
Yeah.
This is what
it doesn't always translate to, let them cook. I mean, you're gonna get something delicious and something awesome. That doesn't always translate well. Majority of the time it does, though. And that's where I really want them to have that time to craft. And it sounds like they really have some big ideas. It sounds like they're really interested in it, based off of how jazzed they are and everything. So again, I am all for it. If you need to delay it till 2035, do it. I'll be oh wow, yeah, I'll be 55 by then. So I mean, maybe I'll be entering retirement.
Holy matrimony! I'm there already, brother. So of course I'm going to be really an old man. I'm really going to have a gray beard. So yeah. But that shout out to Gamer Geek, who actually won one of the prizes, The Last Guardian. That is correct, sir. Yes. Thank you so much for that's another one that was crazy long development, but
that's all I had.
Yeah, and it's a good point of view. Look, I agree with you. Like I'm just being a little silly here. Look, I'm going to be playing games until these hands don't hold controls anymore, and that's going to be a long time. So if they do come out in, let's say, 2029 and maybe 2072 for Fallout 5, who knows? Maybe I'll be able to transfer my soul to another body. Who knows at this point? We'll see what technology goes. But I want to play these games because I really do love Bethesda games, and I understand how. I mean, they're massive, right? I just hope that they use help from all the teams that they have in Xbox. I know Crispy Bomb had said it yesterday on the live stream that he thinks that inXile and Obsidian could assist. I like that idea, but I think those guys want to do their own things. I'd love to see, and again, it's not for me because I'm not an ARPG guy, but I would absolutely love for the fans of Fallout 1 and 2 to get a remake of the originals done by inXile, because they would do it, I mean, great. And I would, of course, love to see, Obsidian take on something like, a New Vegas 2. And we thanks to many people in the community like Jez Corden, who says that not only is Fallout 3 remake actually coming and happening, there's apparently plans for a remake of Fallout New Vegas, which is my absolute favorite Fallout game. Sorry, Todd. I always say that. I always apologize to Todd Howard because I don't want to get that look. He has a look that he gives people that piss him off, and it's kind of like a side eye, but I'm staring at you and lasers are coming out of my eyes, burning you. Kind of a look. I don't want that, Todd. So please don't do that to me. Over there. Let's talk about the potential of a wait that could be another 2 to 3 years. Again, 26 is around the corner. The report, not only from Game Informer, which I have already added to the show notes, it's been a few other reports out there where the earliest it's expected is 28. It could be pushed into 2029. Which would give it, again, they haven't been working on it for a decade. They've been doing other things. Pre-production has been, I think pre-production started in 23, if I'm not mistaken. But get your thoughts on this, bro.
I mean, we definitely want them to cook this as best they can, kind of thing. So if Starfield is an example overall, I think the extra time is probably going to be to our benefit. Yes, some of us are getting up there in age to the point where we'll be actually collecting Social Security at that point. But I think the extra time will be well worth the wait. I do think in 26, although it was one of those things where I always wanted to hear about, Sky or Elder Scrolls 6 coming out in 2026. Have all the sixes, have basically what would have been Gear 6, although E-Day slides into that spot. Horizon 6, which we're actually getting in 26, and then Elder Scrolls 6 would make sense, and it would also go in line with GTA 6 for 26, although that one looks like it's getting pushed as well. But I think the big thing is let them take the time. Starfield showed that extra time definitely makes for a better product as far as release. I think we get to see what Elder Scrolls 6 hopefully looks like at the June showcase. And I think that will be enough to kind of hold us over for maybe at least a year or two. So that way we're not biting at the bit quite as much, but it'll definitely give us hope. And I know Brett Bingham made mention in the chat, and I know a few others are looking forward to this. And I know there's this, bad stigma when it comes to AI and things like that. But I know some people have messed around with the old Elder Scrolls games and, had dynamic AI, NPCs where you can get different quests than what you would normally get. Like each time you would go to them, it would be not really a random quest, but something more in tune with the storyline. So it was looking at, previous missions or previous things that they had you do, or having it where the townspeople are more reactive based on how you interact with them, more so than what the game currently does. So that way you don't run into situations where if you killed one guard and you come back and now they're always hunting you kind of deal. But, having it where there might be a little bit more dynamic response kind of thing. So I hope with the talk of a 27 to 28 range, or maybe even later than that, we'll have the next gen hardware. Hopefully pricing will be reasonable, although I kind of suspect that won't be the case. But the extra hardware, maybe that will make the difference in what this game will be capable of. We keep hearing that things like GTA 6 will have NPCs that have like actual lives and roles that you can follow, and they stick to a schedule, whether it's the week or work week or whatever. Maybe we'll see something similar out of the NPCs in Elder Scrolls as well, more so than what we've seen in the past, kind of thing, where a lot of the extra work and effort, even though it's not interplanetary type of thing with Starfield, but still having a rather large scope of what the world is like, and as far as the size of the map or the size of the entire planet that you might be on, kind of thing, and all the things that go on in the background and the persistent space. Even if I still think that they're using their original, well, not original engine, but their Creation 2 kind of update that they use for Starfield for this, as opposed to fully switching over to Unreal. So I'm pretty sure we'll see a better visual appearance, much like we did with Starfield, and we'll see a lot more, I guess, manipulation and stuff that you could do within the world and still have it where, like, hey, you stole the treasure and you hid it somewhere, you come back 20 hours later in your save and it's still there, unless some bandit stole it, kind of thing. But yeah, I'm gonna patiently wait and hopefully not have arthritis in these fingers worse than what I have now, kind of thing. And we'll enjoy it from them. But yeah, I think, and much like Pragmatic Eagle and a few others have been saying as well in the chat, maybe that'll be Todd's last hurrah, like, type of thing. So he's going to take his time, cross all the T's, dot all the I's, make sure this is close to perfection as you can when it comes to gaming, and release it, and there'll be a nice swan song as far as with him, kind of either moving into doing movies and TV stuff like he's doing with Fallout now, or just enjoy his retirement and time off, and get to play more games than worry about making games and releasing them and stuff like that.
I mean, look, Todd's last game is hard to pick. He's probably in his 50s, right? He's been doing this he's probably been in the business over 30 years, right? There's no doubt about it. And we made mention of it the other day. Does he actually need to retire? Does he want to actually retire? I don't think, I mean, who knows, right? Like, eventually you're going to want to enjoy, your time with your family. He just enjoys making games. I said this yesterday. I really kind of want to just drive the point home. for me, is both a good problem and a problem for Bethesda. Bethesda is in a situation where they are one of the best RPG makers in the gaming business. Yes, I understand they're Square. They've kind of fallen off a bit, but I think they can come back. You have new developers like Sandfall, who took an old school turn-based mechanic, made it fresh, made it new, won a bunch of awards. I think you're going to see more, turn-based RPGs or JRPGs come back in a big way. But this side of the pond RPGs, the Bethesda way is, in my opinion, fantastic. And their problem is that they have some ginormous IPs that everybody wants to play new games of. You have Skyrim, you have Elder Scrolls, you have Fallout, right? You have Starfield, which we have confirmation that's getting its 2.0 cyberpunk moment next year. That's been confirmed by numerous sources. We had Colt Eastwood join us on Wednesday's show. I'm actually in the process of making that into a couple of videos, so look to the channel for those cut down videos. And they also now have Indiana Jones, which the rumor is there's going to be a trilogy. So they're sitting on some major IP, and they can only work on so many games. Like he said, they have overlap, sure, but you got it. Listen, the team is big over at Bethesda. They have a lot of developers. I don't know if they want to add more to kind of speed up the process, but when you add more, that requires more money spent. That's more development time. That's more supervision that has to be doled out. It's a lot. So we'll see what happens with with Elder Scrolls 6. Are we gonna have to wait until 2019 or 2020? I mean 2020, 2030, maybe. 2029 is the rumor. I hope it's not true. I hope it's it's sooner than that. But if it's not, we are going to have Bethesda games before it. You're going to get the 2.0 of Starfield next year. You're also going to be able to get what they could be working on, some remakes for Fallout, which should hold a lot of people over, especially if they remake Vegas. So we will certainly see. But look, this has been a great way to start Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. And I want to read the next 5 winners. The 3 grand prize winners will be read at the end. And of course, I'll get the addresses of where these things have to go. And again, if it's outside of the States, we'll figure it out. But if it's in the States, you just send me your stuff and we'll get it out hopefully by Monday at least. Because, obviously it's the holidays. We're trying to do our own thing as well. But we want to get everyone their prizes. Let's before we get into the last topic, and this one is another great one for the show, and that's involving Tomb Raider, which has me jazzed because I'm a huge Tomb Raider fan. I remember playing the original Tomb Raider on the PlayStation and being in complete awe of what we saw. Like, it was just amazing. And that's coming back in a big way. It's not only 1, but we're getting 2 in 2 years, which is crazy. But the next 5 winners, ladies and gentlemen, Lethal Papa in the chat, the best mod in the business, folks. The picker has picked the man that carries walks silently and carries a really, really large band stick. Pause. And he has won a $50 gift card to your choice of platform. So leave the Papa shout out to you, brother. We also have King Webb in the chat, who has won a $50 gift card to your platform of choice. The Black John in the chat has also won a $50 gift card. And the last 2, BT Maverick 707 has won a $50 gift card. And lastly, and not least in any way, Oscar Wheat in the chat has won a $50 gift card. So, gentlemen, thank you for, of course, being here today in the chat, supporting Double Barrel Gaming with your hashtags, with your views, with your shares, with your likes. And, of course, congratulations on celebrating the 8th annual Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. And of course, I will reread all of the winners. And before we get to those, rereading of the winners, we'll announce the three physical prize winners, the grand prize winners of today's show. And I have a picture of one of those grand prizes, and I think you're going to like it. But Korkenstein, I have a story here from one of my favorite places to get news. That, of course, is VGC.com. Video Games Chronicles is a place that I enjoy reading their articles. You've heard me talk about and highly talk about Andy Robinson. I like Andy a lot. He's a gentleman gamer. He makes time to have a conversation with you. He never rushes out of a conversation. I've seen him 3 times and had 3 different conversations with Andy. I like what him and his team does at Video Games Chronicle. Well, I have an article in front of me that was written by Jordan Midler, and I like Jordan. Jordan does a lot of really good work over at VGC, and the header, Korkenstein, is, "We want to honor the legacy of the original. Crystal Dynamics explains why remaking Tomb Raider again is important." Crystal Dynamics goes on to share why 2026 is the right time to bring back the 90s icon. So, of course, I want to read a little bit from Jordan's article, and then we will get your thoughts on this because, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a Tomb Raider fan. I love Lara Croft as a character. No, I'm not looking at her breast size or her rear in any way because she is a fictional character. I know that Angelina Jolie portrayed that character in the films, and I just like the story. I know that sounds crazy, but I do and have always really appreciated Lara Croft and what she has to do to make it to the next game. It's a lot. Back in the 90s, female leads were not a thing, and she made the character itself made female leads cool. And I love that the legacy is coming back in a big way. We're getting 2 games in 2 years. That is insane. But here is what Jordan wrote in his article. It says, Lara Croft is back. At the Game Awards, 2 new games in the Tomb Raider franchises were announced, as was the new face of Lara Croft. The first Tomb Raider, Legacy of Atlantis, is a reimagining of the original Tomb Raider, promising redesigned visuals and modern gameplay. Set to release in 2026. The second game, Tomb Raider Catalyst, is an entirely new adventure set for 2027, and we'll see Lara Croft exploring the northern parts of India. Alex Wilton Regan, the British actor who was previously set to play Joanna Dark in the now canceled Perfect Dark reboot, will step into the role of Lara Croft, taking over from Camilla Ludington, who was the actress before the new one that's going to be in these 2 games. Following the announcement, Crystal Dynamics sat down for a Q&A session with VGC about both games. Scott Amos, the head of the studio at Crystal Dynamics, and Will Kerslake, game director at Crystal Dynamics, spoke about the new Lara and the remaking of its original classic. Bro, this is awesome. Now, when we talked about remakes, we talked about Halo remake. We talked about Final Fantasy remake. We've talked about Oblivion having a remake. This is one of those situations where I think it's closer to what Capcom did with Resident Evil 2. You are getting a reimagining of the original, but still keeping to what made the game great. I like the idea. And I again, it's one of those things like I talk about Halo. I think it's brilliant that you can take a franchise like Halo, like Oblivion, like Resident Evil, and now Tomb Raider, and take what was there, give it modern graphics, give it modern aesthetics, and introduce these characters, these old school legacy characters, to the new school gamers. Listen, folks, I know us old men, we want things to remain the same. like no sprint in Halo. I know, I hear you, folks, but I like this. I again, Laura means something to me. Master Chief, Leon, Claire, all of these characters mean something to me because I'm an old man. They're a legacy for me. But I like that they have come back in new ways to tell a story that is both familiar and a slightly different. Let's get your thoughts on the fact that not only are they remaking or reimagining the original, but we're getting two new freaking Tomb Raiders in 2 years. Let's talk about it, Corkenstein.
Yeah, I mean, Tomb Raider is one of the classics, of growing up, especially with me for gaming, that I just absolutely loved. I remember, I think I was in middle school when one of them came out, and like I used to work on the journalist on the new little newspaper at our middle school, and I was like the game review, I guess, guy or like whatever for like the kids and stuff. I just remember like playing it and it was so insane because like it kind of like really added a certain level of innovation, but also like immersion and how you did certain things. Like I think it was like one of the first. I remember I was like in her mansion, like running around in it or something like that, and like I did like a swan dive off the second story, and I thought she was just gonna like roll right off the floor. Nope, broke her neck. And I was like, oh, like I was just like I was so taken back by it, because I wasn't expecting that as like from a game. Usually you do like this roll or you do, but there was a certain level of realism in that with what Tomb Raider had to offer back then. Um, and yeah, I just absolutely love that series. Them bringing it back, it's about time. I mean, I like the previous games that they did. I would, I think where they went with it, I've replayed them quite a few times. They're good, but there's just something about that classic, and I kind of hope they I guess start over with the series, especially now with Amazon. I think they're making a series out of it as well. So it looks like they're really looking to make this what's her name? Sophie I can't remember her name right now, but she's supposed to be taking on the mantle of Laura Croft. So yeah, Amazon's going on a big way with this, and if they're spending that millions and millions of dollars, and especially coming out with 2 games and getting people reinvested into the franchise with remaking the first one, yeah, I'm all for it. I absolutely love those games. It's she's kind of like, like Indy would be like the father, I guess, of like Nathan Drake, and she would be like the mother, I guess, on like how, building these, action adventure grand scale like levels and stuff. And she really was some that was like a pioneer of um that, temple looter kind of action adventure game. So, I'm glad that they're bringing back this classic character.
Yeah, again, I love the idea of taking what was there. We as gamers can go back and play Tomb Raider anytime you want. Right now, graphically, Fuzzy Belvedere is not going to be pleasing to the eyes, but if you wanted to play it, there's a way to play it. Uh, Personally, I really enjoyed the new trilogy for Tomb Raider. If I had to pick in order, the second one is my absolute favorite. There's something about that opening snow level where very similar to one of my favorite PlayStation 3 games of all time, and that is Uncharted 2. When you start off with Nathan hanging off that train and he's walking through the snow and you're seeing the footprints and you're like, my God, I cannot believe it. Well, when the second Tomb Raider in that trilogy came out, that it was very similar. And the trilogy was great. Really enjoyed the first one. The third one, it was good. It wasn't as great as the second one. So if I
It
had
had
to
its
pick it for
moments.
me, it would be 2, 1, and 3, right? But now we are getting a reimagining of the original, which we're talking the PlayStation 1 original. I absolutely love this idea. And then, of course, after many new gamers have experienced these adventures or this adventure of Laura Croft, they'll be ready to continue her adventure on the next one, which is a year later. I think this is a great idea, and I think it's going to reinvigorate the franchise because, like Korkenstein said, Amazon is also doing a series, a live action series. So, very similar to what's going on with the fervor for Fallout. Obviously, Fallout 3 remake, according to Paris, he thinks it's going to be dropped or shadow drop potentially right before the finale, which happens in February. I do like that pick. I would have done it differently personally if I was in Bethesda marketing, but of course I'm not. But round circling the wagons here. I want to get your thoughts on the fact that we're not getting one new Tomb Raider, bro. We are getting a pair, and it's coming out back to back years.
Well, like you said, it's a great way to introduce new players to it, give them a bit of the backstory with the original, and then a new one with Catalyst, I believe, the following year. So that way, if you're able to grab their attention and hook them on the retelling of the original story, then it shouldn't be any problem to get hopefully follow up sales for them on Catalyst a year later. But I think this is kind of the blueprint. I made fun of The Last of Us earlier today, but it's kind of the blueprint these days when it comes to when you release a later title in the series or a completely new title outside of a trilogy or something like that. You may want to look back at least retelling or updating the visuals, especially if not if it's only a couple of years apart, but if it's like more than 10 and in some cases 20 plus, yeah, it's well worth doing a remaster at that point. Updated visuals, the tech is there at that point to bring it into current day as far as visuals and so forth. So I think it's a good way to approach it. Me personally, I've probably played it more so on PC back then for the original one. And yeah, I know a few people were making fun about the triangle boobs back then type of deal. I think as a teenager, it was kind of cool. And then, that was my, and this is really going to sound weird. That was my into, I guess, not hacking games, but doing visual mods and stuff to make the triangles bigger, of course. But, outside of that, it'd be cool to just play this game for what it is, an actual, Tomb Raider game where you're actually going on these adventures, finding these archives and things along those lines. So it'll be great to actually play the game for the game itself, this go around as opposed to when I was a teenager type of deal. But Catalyst, kind of looking forward to it. Love the recent trilogy. And I'm kind of like with you, Boom, as far as 2 was definitely the one I liked the most. 1 was pretty good, and 3 had its moments. Like I think it was like the mudslide, and I think that's the one where there was like an underwater Aztec like tomb type of thing where you tried not to drown type of deal. Those are some of the better moments for 3. And then some of the stealth kills where you're hiding in the bushes kind of deal was pretty decent as well. But yeah, looking forward to more Tomb Raider. We could use a lot more of these types of games, although I have to admit, after playing Indiana Jones, I'm kind of spoiled. I do like third person preferably, but having the first person when you go to punch people in the face is always a good thing too, especially if they got the sound effects down right. But yeah, Tomb Raider is still one of those beloved classics for me, more so than Uncharted than was for me in the past. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, look, again, it's nice to see and hear from developers who have taken on the mantle. You got to understand something, folks. Taking on Tomb Raider is no easy feat. Now, Crystal Dynamics is really good at it. They know the business, they know the character, they know the IP, they understand the legacy. They have been a part of it for decades. But anytime you go to remake something, there's risk, right? Does the world need a new Lara Croft? The answer is, for me, you're goddamn right we do. Just like we need a new Sam Fisher, which I don't get me started with that because I'm gonna go crazy. But I love the idea of sharing the excitement for a game with a younger generation. That's because I have Tyler. Tyler experiences. Now, granted, I don't think he's going to care about Lara Croft, to be honest with you. Just like he doesn't care so much about Resident Evil. He doesn't care about Oblivion, and that's fine. But there are going to be gamers, and I'm going to say something that may piss a lot of people off. There are going to be female gamers that are going to look at this and be like, this is amazing. There's a game that represents a strong female lead. And I mean, maybe that doesn't matter to you. It does matter to me. I have sisters. I have a wife. I have, godchildren that are, that are women, girls. They matter. Their opinion matters. And the fact that they could find something in gaming like a Lara Croft, that's important to me as a man. So again, if it's not important to you, don't worry. We're not going to fight. That's fine. But I think having strong female leads is important for the world, and it's important for gaming. And I really think Lara Croft coming back and being represented by one of the studios that are would be considered some of the founding fathers of Lara Croft, it just warms this old man's heart. So I'll end it there. But we're at the 90-minute mark, folks. Gotta read the next 3 grand prize winners. But before we do that, I have to catch up on Super Chats. My God, ladies and gentlemen, the generosity is flowing, and I got to give credit where credit is due. So the next Super Chat comes the way of our generous friend who actually created the opening for today's show. That is Web Dave. Web Dave, brother, we miss you here, man. I know that he was a big part of not only the Xbox Factor podcast, but he was also a big part of Breakfast with Boom for years. And you should check him out on the gaming console each and every Sunday with him and Hargeet and a bunch of guests. So, of course, he drops a very generous $2 Super Chat and says, Boom, Cork Fuzz, God bless us, everyone. Merry Christmas. Well, God bless us all indeed. And, of course, Merry Christmas to you and the family, brother. Great work that you're doing in the community. And, of course, whenever you have a free moment, please DM me ASAP so we can get you back on the show. We also have here Mr. Justin43, who drops a ridiculous $20 Super Chat. Mr. Justin goes on to say, I wonder if Atriox time traveling may cause changes to the timeline in Halo, hence the remakes. Dude, that is freaking really interesting. I don't know if this is a Thanos kind of situation or not, but that is really thought-provoking. I like what you're putting down there, fella. Thank you so much for the generosity and, of course, being here to celebrate today's day with us. We also have Double X Atticus, who won a $50 gift card. He drops a very generous $2 Super Chat. And he says, Merry Christmas to the great panel in the community. Brother, thank you so much for the very kind words. But, of course, thank you for the generosity. We also have a Super Chat here from Chris R55 in the chat, who drops a very generous $5 Super Chat. It says, I'm okay with the Halo remakes as long as it follows the Resident Evil schedule. Remake, new entry, remake, new entry, etc. Again, I like that. I think Halo Studios is made some really big changes. Now, some of the leadership that recently, made the story of they had left after, being with the with the company for 15 years and going all the way back to the 343 and the Bungie days. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think a lot of the people that recently left might have been a part of the problem why Halo couldn't get out of its own way. There's something to be said about being so stuck in your ways about the way things used to be, like no sprint, that you get in the way of making a new game. And folks, I'm just, that's my opinion. It could be 1,000% wrong. And I don't know if it is or it's not. But I think that Halo needed to modernize. There's changes that could be there that will represent the legacy of the brand, but also bring the brand into the future. And I think that some of these 15, 18, 19, 20-year veterans might have been the problem. That's just my opinion. I don't know that for sure. But Chris, thank you so much for the generosity, brother. And of course, appreciate you being here. Will the Broke Boy Insider drops a very generous $5 super chat. And he says, did you see the Xbox College Football Bowl game last night? Master Chief presented a trophy to the winners. It had an embedded playable Xbox ROG Ally X on it. Yeah, everyone's been sending me DMs of it. I've watched the video. I love the defensive and offensive player of the game holding up the 100-point achievement unlock. That I thought that was just brilliant. That's marketing 101. We also have Brett Bingham in the chat, who I talk to Brett pretty much every day of the week. He drops a very generous $5 super chat. Brett goes on to say, did you see all the Xbox Bowl game coverage? They went out a Warthog, Master Chief, and achievements like MVP and winning best marketing in years. Yeah, 100%. Like, that is probably the most they spent. It was an actual Warthog, and Chiefs, whoever was dressed as Chief was not only a big human, but that suit was awesome. I mean, like, awesome. Tim the Sorcerer, who's been a channel member himself for 41 months, ladies and gentlemen. He goes on to say, Merry Christmas to the panel and chat. Hope you all can play a lot around the during, or a lot of games around and during the holidays, on and offline. Have a great weekend. Yeah, brother, I'm trying to get in as much gaming. I am playing Terminator 2. I am trying to prestige for the third time in Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I finally found some guns that really have been putting belt to ass on certain players that might say I'm cheating. But yes, this old man has skills. But I will admit, last night I had a game that was so bad, I was like, I probably should retire. I got, you want to talk about belt to ass? It was multiple belts to my ass because I was getting spanked, and it wasn't right. I was like, man, I think I lost my touch. But then I came back the next game, and I'm like, okay, I'm back. They're out, they're back, they're out, they're back. Sometimes that happens. Tim, thank you so much for the incredible, consistent generosity. Of course, appreciate you being here. Torino Johnson in the chat says, some support, Boom. Merry Christmas, everyone, after dropping a very generous $2 super chat. So, Torino, thank you so much for the kind words, brother, and of course, the generosity. And lastly, no way leastly, Red 503 drops a very generous $5 super chat. He goes on to say, Merry Christmas to the panel and everyone in the chat. So, thank you, brother. Super appreciate that. So, let's get to these last three winners. Now, these winners are all physical prizes. And when I say physical, I'm going to be able to tell you, or at least show you off one of the prizes. The other prizes, when you get them, will be, well, there's going to be a surprise. So it's basically going to be like opening a Christmas gift that you don't know. Now, the first grand prize winner, I got to go to my styles here. Let me just get to my media access. This is Will the Broke Boy Insider. Congratulations, sir. You have won, courtesy of Ben Kenobi 2020 on Twitter, of course, one of the best artists I know. I'm going to bring this up for you to see. This is your prize. You are getting 6 collectible coins that were made by Ben Kenobi. You're getting the Black Ops 7, the Grounded 2, the Doom, the Spacer's Choice, the Ninja Gaiden 4, and the 40-year anniversary rare coin. Folks, that is amazing. And again, that's thanks to the generosity of Will. The generosity of course, Ben Kenobi. Will, congratulations, brother. I know that you've sent me your address, but send it again, DM me or message me, and we will get that out immediately. Those 6 coins, again, come the way of Xbox fan art, and that's run by Ben Kenobi. The other 2 grand prize winners. Okay, so let me just get here to my notes.
I was going to say, since Will steals our opinions, we can steal his prize, right? That's how that works.
I don't think he'd appreciate that. Will, are you listening to this, sir? Your prize, unfortunately, your prize has now been accidentally sent to Korkenstein. Sorry, pal. Sorry. course, I'm just jiving. So yeah, Will the Broke Boy Lewis, one of 3 grand prize winners. The second one is going to come to another good friend of the show, Psychonauts. Psychonauts, do me a favor, brother. DM me. I will send you a picture of your prize as well. And congratulations. And lastly, and this one, again, I don't pick them, folks. Literally, I use the picker. It picks everybody, and that's the best way and the most fairest way we can do it. Sith Lord has won a physical prize, brother. You got to DM me immediately. Now he had sent over 2 codes. One is for Dave the Diver and Saints Row Gold Edition. They're both for Steam. I'm going to drop those into the chat. If you win, awesome. Please thank this man. So I got to go into my DM real quick. But yes, Sith Lord, you not only were generous enough to do a super chat and also gift us a couple of codes to give away, you also are the winner of the last physical prize. I will get your address via DM and send those prizes out to everyone that won a physical prize on Monday. So let me just get to my chat so I can actually do that. And I'll drop those in. You know what? Hold on just a second. I got to copy and paste. Okay, so you know what? While I do that, let's get everyone out of here so you can start your weekend. Big thank you once again to everyone that tuned in. Obviously we had over 400 people watching live. That's a really big deal. Again, the channel is still relatively small. And when you get that kind of audience, we're super, super happy to have you here. A big thank you to all of the very generous super chats that have come in, channel member chats, gifted subs. Mrs. Boom and I do truly appreciate it. And it's because of this generosity, this consistent generosity, that allows us to give away a $500 prize, which includes 10 $50 gift cards, and then be able to, send out these physical prizes as well, because everything costs money, but we are always going to be thankful for that. Cork and Sign, let's sell the brand. Now, granted, we don't know exactly what's going on, but we know that you did celebrate a big milestone with the Xbox Reddit having over 1 million subscribers. That is just absolutely insane. Please talk about that. What you gave away, what your future plans are to do with the Reddit site, and more importantly, what else you got going on.
Yeah, as always, big thanks. Happy holidays to everyone. I always love talking with you guys. Boom, Fuzzy, Crispy, he's not here. Silent as well. You guys are all awesome. Happy holidays, to you and your families, and to everyone on chat. Absolutely love you guys out there. You guys always have really great opinions, and it's always so well discussed between us. So absolutely, always a pleasure to talk with you guys in chat, and I appreciate what an awesome community Boom has cultivated here. For Xbox, our Xbox on Reddit. Yes, we did just celebrate 1 million subscribers, which is a massive number. And yeah, we've been doing a whole week of giveaways. So the first week we did Expedition 33. And then the last 5 days, we've given away every other day. We did a Silent Hill 2 Remake Deluxe Edition. We gave away one for each of these are going to be for United States and one for the UK, because we purchased these codes ourselves to give to the community. We did Arkham Collection. We also did Moonglow Bay, which is one of my favorite games. I absolutely love that game. And then I think next week on the 23rd, we'll be giving out Arc Raiders. And then we'll also be giving out another Expedition 33 code. Is that the 23rd? Let me just to make sure. But if you go to our Xbox, you should be able to see the full schedule. I'll go ahead and post that in the chat right now. So we have a full schedule, and we might actually have something pretty cool from Ben Kenobi ourselves.
Very
that
nice.
We might be giving away. So be on the lookout for that. I just got to finalize some of the details with him. And then so we might actually have some really, really cool stuff to give away. I posted the link there. That's our schedule. Arc Raiders is the 21st, Expedition 33 is the 23rd. So yeah, those are the next two big giveaways coming up next week. Be on the lookout for those. And yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for everything. Happy holidays, and I'll see you guys next Friday, possibly.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is next Friday we're not having a show. The next time we're gonna get together is gonna be the 2nd of January, and I'm glad you brought that up because next week we're doing shows Monday and Tuesday. What I'm going to attempt to do, and I've never done this before, but I'm going to give it the old college effort, is I'm going to pre-record a couple of topics that I did not get a chance to talk about, and I'm going to put those up as premieres on the times where we normally you get a show. Now I'm going to be solo, and it's probably going to be about 15 or 20 minutes. And I say that it could be longer, could be as much as half an hour, but I'm going to try because everything is so busy and we're running at 100 miles an hour. I want to try at least to have, 1 to 3 new pieces of content per week that we're taking off. And like I said, I'm going to give it the old college effort, folks. That's why I haven't made any like thumbnails or anything because I still have to do all of that work. But I do want to at least have a couple of pre-recorded things to go up in the premiere format that we've done, so that you have something to listen to. That's a topic that we have not covered on Double Barrel Gaming. But Fuzzy Belvedere, let's sell your brand, kind sir. And of course, that brand is the wife's, and it's called Fright Night with Ferocious Fee. It is a horror-based podcast, and being it is Christmas, I don't know what you guys are going to talk about, but there are a lot of really, there's that G movie with the snowman that kills people. I don't know if that's next. Black Christmas is one you can talk about. There's Silent Night, which is another one. There's a bunch of them. I don't know which route you're going to go, but sell the brand. Where can people not only subscribe to Fright Night with Ferocious Fee, but more importantly, follow you guys on social media?
As always, love doing this podcast with you, Boom, as well as you, Corkenstein. Shout out to Crispy Bomb. I know he couldn't be here. He's busy with the holidays and everything that he's got going on, but always also Miss Web Dave as well. Thanks, Web Dave, for he sent in the DMs for me a couple of days ago. But to everybody out there, be safe for these holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holiday, whatever you may celebrate during this time. Just take time with family and friends. Be safe, play some games, and relax if you have the time off. It's going to be a well-deserved way to end the year and then kick off the new year, hopefully with a smaller backlog, so that way you can make room for some new games for next year. But no podcast tonight for Fright Night with Ferocious Fee. We'll probably be doing something next Friday, but like I said, I think on the previous episode, we're going to be talking about what some people don't consider a Christmas movie, and that's Die Hard. I happen to be one of them that considers it a Christmas movie. I know it's not horror, but we'll just be talking about Christmas-related things on that episode. But take care, everyone. Look forward to seeing everybody here on Monday. But like I said, have fun, be safe, and kick off this year with a bang and start off the new one with an even bigger bang. And that's all.
Yeah, well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, one more super chat, and it's a big one, folks. Hargeet Chani. Of course, Hargeet's one of the premier members on many podcasts, including Primetime Gaming on Wednesdays. He drops, ladies and gentlemen, an unbelievable $50 super chat. He says, Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year to everyone. Brother, that's very kind of you. You've done that more times than I can count, and we truly appreciate that kind of generosity. And of course, before we get out, let me just go ahead and reread the 3 grand prize winners. These are physical prizes, folks. You got Will, the Broke Boy Insider, Sith Lord, and Psychonauts have won physical prizes and the $50 gift cards. I'm going to read all 10, and some of them I know, like Lethal. We talk all the time, so of course, Lethal, you don't got to send me your information. I already know who you are. Lethal Papa won a $50 gift card. King Webb won a $50 gift card. The Black John in the chat won a $50 gift card. Double X Atticus is a $50 gift card winner. J Mac, Cyber Gunter. I've already talked to WTB, who just DM'd me, so you're going to be getting your prize. Just let me know where you want it to. We also have Gamer Geek and BT Maverick 707. You have all won $50 digital gift cards to your platform of choice. So congratulations to all the winners. Once again, big round of applause for the chat for being here, the panel for delivering in a big way, and a big thank you from Mrs. Boom and I to everyone that continues to support Double Barrel Gaming through your channel memberships, through your gifted subs, as well as your super chats. We do greatly appreciate it, and it does allow us to do these big type of giveaways, and it makes us feel really good to give back to the community. So once again, Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year, happy holidays, and of course, I'm gonna have to take out the Popo hat, folks. Look, here's the thing. You're gonna get bored of hearing this, but I'm never gonna get bored of saying it. I had an incredible 21-year career as a police officer for New York City, and I did my due diligence to go out of my way to help at least one person a day. That is what I was taught, and of course, I did more. But the goal was to help at least one person. And I don't know who's listening right now that this may help, but I'm never going to stop saying it. During the holidays, we all want to celebrate. Some people celebrate more than others. And I'm here to tell you, as someone who has been boots on ground, first responder to wrecks that you cannot believe, do not be that person that takes a drink and goes behind the wheel. I am telling you, every effing day of the week, it happens. And it happens to everyone who is rich, poor, or somewhere in the middle. It does not matter where you come from, what color your skin is, what sexual orientation, or your religion. Drinking and driving is illegal. Smoking weed and driving is illegal. And I'm telling you right now, what you do not want on your conscience is killing a family of 5 waiting at the traffic light because you did some stupid ass shit. And I don't like to normally curse, but sometimes that's all people want to hear to understand. Don't be an effing knucklehead and get behind the wheel high or under the influence of alcohol. You're not only going to ruin your life, you have the potential to ruin someone else's. So please don't do it. But
I can tell you too from my work, holiday season, like part of my job is I also ship human remains. And part of my job is exactly that, to where we see an influx of human remains because of the decisions that you know people make and that you talked about. So it is a very, very real thing. I actually see it almost every single.
Yes. Well, please don't. Again, folks, don't listen to again. It happens. It happens every day of the week. Don't be the person. Don't be that person. You know how much you drank. You know if you smoked weed. Don't get behind the wheel. Call an Uber. Have one of your friends or your family drop you off, or sleep it off wherever you are. And I'll end it there. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Merry Christmas once again. Happy holidays to everyone. Mrs. Boom and I are going to deliver an insane 2026, and so is your favorite platform. Everyone is going to deliver. The big conversation is going to be Xbox. It's their 25th anniversary. Their roadmap is insane. But, you know, you still have Sony releasing a couple of games, including Wolverine, which is one of my most anticipated games. Nintendo is going to deliver a new Zelda probably, and there's a good shot that we could get a new Mario, and I think that Mario is going to be Galaxy 3, which Galaxy 1 and 2 Remake are incredible. And listen, wherever you play games, just take time to enjoy where you're playing. Unplug from the socials, right? Don't get into fights with people because they have a different opinion. Just enjoy gaming, ladies and gentlemen. And I guarantee you're going to have an awesome holiday season. But of course, let me get out of here by closing out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode. Well, actually, won't see you next week. We'll see you in the new year on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.